Ladies and gentlemen, there's fire in the skies and liars in disguise in a far-out starbout that's sure to shake the heavens. Kick back and decompress as we answer the question, are we alone in the showniverse? In this corner, the man with all the right stuff, MacGyver, and the challenger spot, locked and ready to rock. Are you afraid of the dark? It's a close encounter of the nerd kind on Put Up Your Spoons.
This is We Bleed Orange and Black, the podcast for Halloween and horror lovers. Join us as we interview creators, discuss our favorite horror, and share original spooky stories. I'm Jeff, repping the 80s.
I'm Ryan, repping the 90s. This week's theme:
visitors. I reached out to Ryan and I said, you know what? We haven't done MacGyver on the show, and I know that MacGyver has a bunch of cool, spooky, Halloween-y episodes. So here's a list of all the MacGyver episodes where something freaky is happening. And Ryan scrolled down that list of Halloween-y MacGyver episodes and said, I want to do this one about UFOs.
When I was looking through my collection of MacGyvers to find the one that you picked, I was like, oh no, a haunted house one. Oh no, Halloween Nights, KNIGHT. Oh, what have I done?
They were literally in the email I sent you. The menu of MacGyver episodes to choose from.
But I had an easy one to match with aliens, so that was why.
All right, so now you know how we got into this mess. I'm going to tell you about MacGyver, Season 6, Episode 10, The Visitor. Hit us with that theme song.
This was a late series episode, so I was like, well, shit, it's gonna be like silly and crazy and ridiculous. Again, I was wrong.
There are 2 episodes where MacGyver gets knocked unconscious and has a dream that he's in cowboy times. And there's a 3rd episode where he falls asleep and believes he's a knight in King Arthur's court.
Oh, man. Is that Halloween Nights?
No.
Oh, all the MacGyver is pretty dry. I'm learning as I watch my way through the series. I think we love MacGyver the Guyver and less MacGyver the show.
It's possible. For those of you not familiar, MacGyver is a show about Angus Mac MacGyver, a top agent for the Phoenix Foundation, which is devoted to righting the wrongs of the world. MacGyver is an international man of action who never uses a gun. He overcomes problems with quick thinking and scientific genius, literally inventing solutions on the fly.
Probably sometimes even using flies.
Oh yeah. We open on Max slowly driving down a country lane in Canada. He glances over, sees a giant blazing blue cosmic alien jellyfish tearing apart the night sky, and continues puttering along, perhaps dismissing it as an acid flashback. He probably would have driven away, but the electrical system in his car dies. He gets out and begrudgingly checks out the giant UFO hovering over the field. A limey in a black raincoat is also parked there, enjoying the view. Mac walks over to the UFO and sees a humanoid in a silver suit holding a double-ended lamp. The shiny figure fetches him a clout and knocks him unconscious. MacGyver wakes up later in a dark field. The UFO is gone. He stumbles to a derelict house and catches a small boy hiding under the stairs. Tommy is his name, and he is wearing a heavy flannel jacket over a puffer vest over a sweatshirt over a flannel shirt. He takes MacGyver home to call a tow truck. Tommy's father bristles at the company because he's busy slinging soup for his sick wife. Tommy wants to tell MacGyver a secret, but he doesn't get the chance. The next day, MacGyver encounters the limey again. Turns out the limey is a UFO fanatic.
Tell me, Mr. MacGyver, do you believe in flying saucers?
Well, as a matter of fact, I tend to chalk that stuff up to natural phenomena.
But you must admit, considering all the stars out there, life on other planets is more than possible. It's practically a certainty. And some very credible people have reported seeing UFOs. Police officers, military and airline pilots.
Let's just say I have yet to be convinced.
MacGyver is a skeptic, so the limey tries to sell him a vacuum cleaner. End of scene. MacGyver heads back to the field to take some Geiger counter readings of the soil under the UFO landing site. Tommy's dad shows up wearing a denim jacket over a heavy flannel, over a lighter flannel over a long sleeve undershirt. I think the note to the wardrobe department here was, these are poor folk who can't afford proper coats. He yells at MacGyver for trespassing. The sheriff rolls up and tells Mac to stick to his day job. But Tommy is hiding in MacGyver's car. He finally leaks his big secret. Weird people have been coming to the farm, claiming that they've come from outer space to take them to a paradise planet for a price. MacGyver decides to pay a visit to these alien salesmen who are operating out of a trailer. Rigel, a slick-haired weirdo wearing 2 leather jackets, a thick white turtleneck sweater, and skin-tight pants, comes out to talk to him. Rigel's partner, a mean-looking lady from Jersey in a bulkier leather jacket over a thicker white turtleneck sweater, tells Mac to buzz off.
What is your real reason for being here?
Oh, honest, I was just looking.
Looking for what? Love? Joy? A new beginning? I can help.
That's enough, Ray. This man is not a believer.
I'm describing all of these outfits for 2 reasons. 1, this is the most boring episode of MacGyver I have ever seen. 2, everyone wears the same exact clothing throughout the entire episode like they're cartoon characters. And it's kind of nuts.
It was about this time that I realized, oh no, it's just going to be scam aliens, and there's not going to be a real alien. But it was also around this time that I realized, oh, vacuum salesman is a real alien. Thank goodness.
Thank goodness. MacGyver sneaks into the trailer to snoop around. He's about to be discovered, but the Limey shows up to distract the alien salesman with his own pitch for vacuum cleaners. MacGyver runs some tests on the evidence he's found and believes that this is all an elaborate hoax to scam poor farmers out of money. He even recreates the phantasmal blue light show with some paper clips and a battery, proving that this is an earthly interaction of an electromagnetic field with methane fumes from the fertilized field. The sheriff doesn't want to hear it. In fact, he arrests MacGyver on a trumped-up charge of trespassing. The Limey bails him out 30 seconds later.
And MacGyver doesn't even use gadgetry to break out of prison.
The only gadgetry or science in this episode
Is the hologram.
And the whole thing about MacGyver is that he's constantly making up gadgets and weird inventions to solve problems. And I was like, oh, well, of course he's gonna MacGyver, literally, MacGyver as a verb. He's gonna MacGyver his way out of this jail cell. No, he barely has time to sit down when the Limey shows up and bails him out. The stakes have never been lower. Tommy rides his bike to the trailer and gets grabbered by the alien salesman. MacGyver tries to convince the family they're being scammed, but they say scram, so he sneaks outside to recreate a full-scale version of the UFO effect. The alien salesmen show up, say they found Tommy and are keeping him safe, and demand their cash. The dad says, son first, then cash. The alien salesmen stick guns in their face and say, cash now, then son, then we murder you all with a flamethrower.
Now give us the money.
You can't do this. We trusted you.
Put a lid on it, lady.
They're crooks, just like MacGyver said.
Get the flamethrower. There's gonna be a terrible accident.
Mac and the Limey distract the bad guys with the alien light show for 1 full second. The Limey knocks mean Jersey lady the fuck out. Slick-haired weirdo tries to torch Mac with his flamethrower, and because this is pre-CGI, he's spraying actual gouts of flame. It is the only cool moment of the show.
It is a cool flamethrower.
The Limey appears, the flamethrower sputters out, and Mac punches the weirdo. Tommy's family reunites with MacGyver. Sheriff comes by to confirm that yes, they were scam artists. Tommy begs them to come outside and look at more lights in the sky. A giant flying saucer-ass flying saucer zips back and forth across the night sky, but MacGyver is unconvinced.
More of that electroplasm? No. That one's moving.
Well, then what could it be?
You gotta wonder.
he's like, I'm gonna do this big light show to prove to the farmer family that they're being scammed, but they've already figured out they're being scammed at gunpoint. And then, so like in MacGyver's defense, he doesn't know that they've already figured out they've been scammed, but from our perspective, we don't need to see the big version of light show. But it was kind of fun that MacGyver and the real alien threw giant javelins at some telephone poles and hit exactly on the first try, and got them to stick there, thus producing a UFO hologram.
That was probably the craziest part.
Maybe the alien could have like used his psi powers to get him to go in there, but what was Mac going to do otherwise? Holy hell.
Yeah,
and then
true.
the family was being held at gunpoint, and the weird lady was like, now get in the barn, there's going to be an accident. And it's at that point where you have to go like, well, they've just admitted they're going to kill all of us, so I better try and fight for my life, right? They just go in the barn.
I mean, they were at gunpoint.
Yeah, but he knows they're going to murder him.
That's true, but what I was thinking was like, well, the barn is going to have like maybe a tractor, pitchforks,
But it didn't have any of that
kerosene
stuff.
lanterns.
The only way they escaped the barn was because the alien vacuum cleaner salesman put out the flames and opened the locked door.
Yeah. And knocked out Mean Jersey Lady.
So you gotta go for that gun, Farmer Dad.
Yeah, I liked that weirdo alien was pale, dark eyes, slick back hair, and he was like, people seek many things. Is it love? Is it fulfillment? Are you ready to transcend? And his partner was just like this gum-smacking mean lady from Jersey with huge earrings, and she was like, meh. She couldn't even like keep up the ruse.
I did like vacuum cleaner salesman. I found him a delightful fellow.
But at least we have Ryan's episode to look forward to.
Yeah, my episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark, entitled The Tale of the Unexpected Visitor. This is one of those episodes that I like despite knowing that it's dumb. And there are actually a couple of quotes in here that I still quote to myself every now and again. You'll find out which. Perch and Jeff are two, maybe high school kids. They formed a band, but they hate each other's musical style.
Whoa, eclectic riff.
No, play it like this.
That's cool. If you're writing elevator tunes.
Perch, you gotta hear the music.
No, man. You gotta feel the music.
Because he's like a hard rockin', long hair headbanger dude. And Jeff is like a nerd ass new wave dude. They're home alone. They're babysitting Jeff's little brother while their parents go to the donkey show or something. They go to the basement where Jeff's dad has this like crazy satellite hookup because he does deep space research.
Classified deep space research.
Top secret? Unpuking believable.
Which is a quote that I do say to myself still. They're going down there to steal pay-per-view wrestling. Perch calls Jeff Sherman, and he's like, don't call me Sherman, I hate it. So I don't know what this goddamn kid's name is. Kiki's calling him Jeff as she tells the story. Perch is calling him Sherman.
So Jeff is Sherman and Perch is Perch?
Yeah. Perch finds documents for the Peabody Project, and Sherman freaks out. It's all about deep space communication. They're not supposed to be messing with it. Sherman's brother, little brother, I don't know what his name is, finds them down in the basement, and he blackmails him because he knows they're not supposed to be down there. So Sherman has to go give his brother a banana split while leaving Perch alone. Perch, of course, as soon as he's alone, engages the Peabody Project.
First of all, terrible security on the father's part for not even password protecting his computers and for leaving classified documents just out, not even locking the door. The other thing is Perch, who is this vibes heavy, you gotta feel the music, rock and roll goon who has absolutely zero impulse control. He's like a poster child for ADHD. He has no problem cracking into this folder, reading exactly how to fire up this deep space satellite protocol. You know, he's putting in command line prompts and he's programming satellites. And I was like, wow, you know what? I guess I misjudged Perch.
Perch engages the Peabody Protocol, sends a message of rock and roll into deep space.
Hold on. Slow it way the fuck down. Here's what I gotta say about Mr. ADHD Perch. He is explicitly told not to look at classified documents. The second he's left alone, he reads them, he goes into the computer, boots up the system, starts programming a message, and then gets bored mid-message. Like, he's so bored he can't be bothered to blast a message into deep space, and so he just pounds on the keyboard.
Until he realizes he can send a musical message. Then it pokes his curiosity again. He goes like, message, and he stretches his arms and accidentally hits the keyboard.
And he sends a bunch of random tunes, and it was like, oh, cool. But he doesn't then send a follow-up tune. It's just, he was like, oh, it's musical, I guess. Whatever random keys I hit. He's not like, oh, I can make music and send it. He was like, oh, there was a bunch of sounds.
I made a call, man. Across the universe. And somebody answered back.
The parents come home. The kids are freaking out. They almost think they're going to get caught, but the parents are only upset that they gave the little brother ice cream. So they get away with it. That night, it's dark. There's fog in the woods, because there's always fog in an Are You Afraid of the Dark forest. Some lights flash through the sky, and the family dog Montana brings his ball out to the woods because he senses a playmate. And he gets trapped in a giant glowing spider web. Next day, the mom goes away. The dad is gone. The mom's like, you got to look for the dog. He's missing. So the boys go into the forest to look for the dog while little bro plays t-ball, which I feel like at age 9 is a little old for t-ball, but that's neither here nor there.
Well, if you're playing baseball with yourself, you can't pitch it to yourself.
You just toss it up in the air.
Huh? Fair.
Perch and Sherman are complaining about how they cannot write music because they're such losers.
Can't write music because our lives are so dull.
Exactly. I didn't spaghetti 3 nights in a row. I slept at study hall today. Da, da, da.
My mom made me breakfast. I ate and went to school.
We're lost, Sherman. Lost in a dweeb-like comfort zone wasteland.
The boys find the dog's ball in the woods. Back at the house, little bro bats a home run into the forest, goes in there, also gets glowing spider-webbed, and engulfed in blazing white light and strange noise. The boys encounter a web, but they do not get webbed.
Whoa, Sherman, you got some serious spiders here.
They find a big metal space door, which is playing the space rock and roll. It's not rock and roll. I keep saying that because it sounds better than new wave tones. It's really just like a play on Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Doo 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 doo. They throw the ball in. It's just a door. If it was a regular door and you step through, you'd just be on the other side in the woods. But when they throw the ball in, it just vanishes and there's nothing on the other side. Someone throws the ball out of the door, so they run back home in terror. All the computers are on in the basement. I don't know why they ran straight to the basement. Maybe they heard noises down there. And there are 5 messages received on the computer, and they can track the progress across the galaxy from where the messages were sent, and it's getting closer and closer to Earth, and finally it comes from Earth. They hear spooky voices that are like repeating their own words.
Predator style.
In the house. The computer flashes an incoming message. The boys kind of split up. Perch gets webbed. Sherman realizes that another messenger is coming from space because he sees it flying in a straight line straight to Earth on the computer. Again, this really is revolutionary technology. Sherman finds the web that caught Perch, and it's like all black, but has a perch-shaped outline in it, like a nuclear shadow. So, you know, Perch is most likely vaporized, I have to imagine.
We can hope.
In a bout of bravery, Sherm goes to the space door. He goes inside, and he finds Perch, his little brother, and the dog all stuck in tubes. Perch is like, the air's bad in here, dude. You gotta play a D sharp to open the tubes. And I don't know how he figured that out, but... So Sherm runs back to the goddamn house and records a long D sharp on his boombox. Meanwhile, the second spaceship has arrived. Sherm gets webbed, but he weasels out of his shirt for like Frodo style and escapes. He plays the tone off his radio, frees his brother and Perch and the dog. But when they get outside the space door, they are absolutely surrounded by the glowing webs, which then immediately disappear, and 2 aliens appear. It's an alien mom and an alien kid.
Well, there's 2 adult aliens.
No, there's not. There's 1 tall alien and 1 short alien. What movie were you watching?
I thought they were the mom and dad, and they're like, oh, our kid is here looking for toys.
Yeah, no, it's the mom. She's grabbed up her kid,
and
she's chastising him for being a little space brat. And she says, the song you sent means we are toys in our space language. Sorry. And then they fly away.
Let me check if my molecules are, like, simpatico.
Later, Dad is like totally cool that they used this top secret space radar because they made alien contact, which is fair, you know? He's probably going to get a medal or something, or assassinated, or disappeared to a black site. And the boys no longer have trouble making music because they've had an experience. So they blast their horrible song to their new space friends. The song is called We Are Not Toys, and I'm 100% certain that they started an intergalactic war.
You ready?
Let's rock!
The end.
Maybe there was a chance that the father could have kept them out of a black site by covering up the fact that the kids had been down there and taking credit that he had made contact. But then when the kids are just willy-nilly blasting signals out to alien civilizations, man, horribly irresponsible, as we've seen in the Three Body Problem. Maybe the weakest episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark we've ever covered on the show.
Unpuking believable.
Body count, zeros across the board. Scare factor for my episode, I'm going to say 0. Scare factor for your episode?
When they're first getting like webbed up and approached by like blazing lights and stuff, it could be construed as a little scary. Just a little.
It's a little eerie. So I will give you a 1 out of 100.
Partial fear credit.
Gross factor for MacGyver, 0. Gross factor for your episode,
0.
What the factor for MacGyver? I don't know. Everyone wearing multiple layers of clothing at all times.
The fact that MacGyver knew exactly how the UFO hologram was achieved.
I mean, it took some tinkering, but the fact that there was 0 gadgets, he didn't MacGyver anything.
I think MacGyver always made a point not to really teach you exactly how to like make the bombs he was making and stuff, but like a lot of the stuff he did, if you squinted, you could see it being something you could do in the real world.
Right.
This one, I don't think you could do. I don't think you could produce a perfect UFO hologram with some wires and some gas. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe that's the basis of all UFO sightings.
To be continued. What the factor for your episode?
Yeah, I don't think it has a very high what the factor.
Theme of visitors. I'm going to give this one to you because you actually had visitors.
Well, so did MacGyver. Vacuum salesman was a visitor.
That's true. Call that a tie. I guess this whole matchup is a tie. I award no points to either episodes. These were both dreadful. I think the only thing interesting to say about these episodes is kind of like with the Miami Vice episode I brought to the show last time, there was this sort of UFO mania popping off late 80s, early 90s, and this is right before we got the premiere of The X-Files. And a lot of people have ascertained that this was a time of relative peace in America, and because there wasn't that looming threat of the Soviets, we were sort of looking inward and getting conspiracy minded and being like, what isn't our government telling us? We don't trust the government, therefore UFOs for some reason. We are now living through a similar resurgence of UFO phenomenon, ufology, and the promise of disclosure.
At this point, that stuff is all pure distraction.
So I just thought that was an interesting parallel between our current era and this halcyon days of 1987 to 1993 when aliens were all the rage.
Yeah, well, you're welcome then. Don't rerun for your life.
I don't get it.
Watch once for your life because they're not worth rewatching.
Oh, don't watch these episodes. I see.